Hi, welcome to my channel. Today I will be attempting to do another doodle strip. So I've been attempting to do this whole project where I talk to the camera while doing art. It's part of my thing where I try to learn because I have these plans for the channel, but I have no experience with video filming and all of that. So I thought that the first videos on my channel would be all about learning art or learning how to do film and learning all the tricks and learning all the tips. Basically learning through experience because that's the best way that I learn. So my goal was to see what works and then try to improve. So this is basically the fourth of 5 series of this is the 4th series in a group of 5 that I'm working on. And this series, the goal is to learn how to talk to the camera while working on a project, because ultimately the goal of what I want to do is to work on the camera and talk without getting awkward or feeling uncomfortable. This is the 4th in the series of 4, so each series has 5 videos, and this is the series 4 and video 4, if I hope that makes sense. And I've learned a few things. Among those, it's how to sync up audio with the video, which was a little bit difficult, and apparently I oversaturated the last video that I made. I guess the lighting was too bright, so you could barely see what I did, and I used the wrong marker. But this time I'm hoping that I can do a better job. So what I'm doing now is a doodle pattern. So basically I got these Sharpie markers. They're fine tip. They're very easy to find. You can find them anywhere. And this is just a piece of very thin cardstock, so it's I was hoping to do actually a whole lot, but I thought that it would be too challenging because it's a learning experience. I'm new. I don't want to intimidate myself. I had another one that I started with, so this was the one that I started working on. I used a pen, rather a marker that was too big, and I didn't like how it came out, so I thought a thinner one would look much better. So this is my attempt. Hopefully I can get it done within 2. So my first thing is to do just these little patterns to make it look nice, I guess. I've been looking at all these doodle patterns on Pinterest, and these men and women who do these, they're so talented. It's just so impressive to watch, and they have such steady hands. Like, I think maybe I might have a tremor in my hand, because for some reason I just can't seem to keep it as, or maybe it comes with practice, I guess. If you spend so much time doing this, after a while I guess you become more talented at it, you become a professional at it. Or maybe some people are just gifted in the ability to do this, whereas I am not. But luckily I am of the belief that anything one human being can do, another human being can also do. It might not be to the same degree, it might not be to the same level, but if one person can do something, then another person can also do it as well, because we are basically the same. We have the same mental capacity. It's just that some people learn differently. So if somebody can do art, or somebody can sing, or somebody can play basketball, then another person can do it too. It's just about your willingness to learn and to try. So that's how I've gone through life, and it hasn't failed me yet. I'm not saying that I'm great at anything that I've tried, but I have been able to use that motto, I don't know what you'd call it, but it has helped me learn all the things that I've wanted to learn. Like, I wanted to learn how to do some programming. I'm not great at it, but I can work my way through. I wanted to learn how to sing. I don't have the best voice, but apparently even that you can train yourself to do. You can train yourself to do that as well. I'm not the best writer, but I can train myself to write a pretty decent story. So I believe that if one person can do one thing, then another person can do it too. And we just like to limit ourselves into believing that we can't do something just because maybe we tried once and we didn't have the talent right away. So that's basically what my channel is going to be all about, me attempting things that I've never tried before, just to I just want to get experience, just to try new things, learn new things. There's so many amazing things out there in the world, and we should be able to all experience whatever interests us anyway. Don't let like our own inexperience be the reason why we don't do something. Oh, because I don't know how to do it, so I don't get to try it. No, I don't believe in that at all. So but for me to do that, like I said, I need to know how to go about it. So I don't know how to do filming. So using that and knowing that other people have done filming before, I'm using my typical method and learning about it. So don't mind me. I'm looking at different doodle patterns that I might like. I have a thing for lines. I don't know. I think I mentioned that in the previous video. I just think they look so cool. Maybe I'll just go with lines for this one. I wonder if that would end up looking really nice. Let's go a different direction. I think lines would do. And if I just keep doing it, following the same, I think it would look nice. It might take a while though. But yeah, so that's the whole goal of what I'm trying to attempt, is to learn something that I've never done. So I guess basically this series is following the whole premise of the channel, where I try new things but I don't know how to film or how to do proper video editing and the whole filmography or whatnot. So I'm learning by doing it because I know others have done it, so I know it is something that is possible to be done. So here I am learning. What can I say about this? I think that I will go with a lined approach for now, just because I think that it will have a nice look. Maybe I might change it up in the next section, still with the lines, but maybe, see, I'm being impatient. That's one thing that I do struggle with, is that I tend to be a little bit impatient with everything that I do, which is not good when you're trying to learn something new. Patience is in fact key. It's not just a nice quippy saying. So I just need to follow the lines. So I find that this is a new marker. I literally just opened it before I hit record. I am actually recording this really late because I had to go and buy markers for me to record this. I bought it at the dollar store, which, can you believe it, before you could not. Sharpie used to be one of those things that you had to buy at the stationery store, but now Sharpies, you can get this. I bought 2 of them. I think it was $1 or $1.25. It was not very expensive. But anyway, so I'm making the video late. Today is Wednesday. The video is supposed to come out on Mondays. The problem is that because of the situation that we're in right now, the middle of the pandemic in Canada, we're having issues with stores being closed early. So it's such a struggle. It's unbelievably a struggle. I get why everything is closed. You know, we have a stay-at-home order. So I am typically used to the dollar store being closed at 9 p.m. So I thought, okay, after work, I'm usually done around 6. I will head to the dollar store at that time. I head to the dollar store. There's a big sign in the window saying we are open, because so many businesses are struggling right now, which I understand. So they're trying to encourage people to come shopping. And I think the government, not to get political, and I really am not about that, but basically they did this whole thing when I guess a lot of small businesses were complaining that the big box stores, they were allowed to stay open, but the little guys were closed. So the government did this thing where they said that yes, the big box stores could stay open, but they're only allowed to sell essential items, which is so ridiculous. Like, what? How do you determine what is essential? But anyway, that's not important. So I went to the store after work. I got there at 6. I was like, okay. It was the weekend. I think it was Saturday, because my plan was to get it on Saturday, film for Saturday nights, edit for Sunday, and have it ready for Monday. I went there, 6 o'clock, big sign in the window saying we are open, yay. Okay, I will go to open the door, boom, the door is locked. I'm like, what? That was the point of the sign. I get the point of the sign was that they were saying please come in, but in fact, because of we have a new lockdown order. I guess people are protesting the whole pandemic, so they've closed, or they've reduced operating hours for businesses. So in fact, the business closed at 6, but I was done at 6, and it took me about 15 minutes to get there. So I could not get there on time, so I had to wait until Monday. And by then I was just so discouraged, because I had a whole plan, and so I decided I would go on the Monday. I'd get the stuff that I needed, and then okay, so I'm gonna do some alternating designs right now. Some dash lines. They're still lines, but they're dashes. And then I tried to do a whole bunch of other things. So I was trying to work on my taxes, because I'm so behind schedule on that. And because of the whole situation right now, I made such a silly decision. I've mentioned before that I can be a little bit impatient. So when I signed into the government website there's a new form that we have to do. It's different than most years because of the whole pandemic. They sent, because my previous employment shut down when the pandemic started, so we were on government assistance. And I know that they sent me a form, but I think I must have accidentally thrown the form away, which is so careless of me. Ugh, so careless. So I logged into the government website, and I was fine, but I think which is the worst year to change everything. I'm just talking because I really don't think there's much I can say about this. It's just lines. Like, what else can I say? I'm just talking about me being silly. They were asking us to do this whole change. I didn't even read it. I just said okay. They sent me a thing. Now, I never log into the government website with my password. They sent it to me like in 2017 or 16, and I immediately lost it. I just log in with my banking information. So they sent me they have this new encryption. I guess maybe there might have been some breach of security. And I didn't read anything about it. I just said, okay, whatever. I just wanted to get the taxes done so that I could work on all the things. And I followed the steps. I did the code and whatever. And then it logged me out. And I tried to log back in, and it was asking me for my password. I'm like, what password? I don't know what that is. I haven't seen that password since like years. It's like 2021. I haven't seen that password since I moved back to Toronto, I moved back in 2016, and that was when I requested access to the government website. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is. And I kept trying to log in, but it kept saying, no, you need a password and a username. I don't know what that is. So I'm like, okay, let me just call them. and let them know. Of course, I moved during the pandemic, so I can't even verify my address because, you know, with the government, you have to be perfect, and their system is always down, and there's always a situation. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll just call the government, and maybe I'll verify who I am with different documents and whatnot, and I'll answer some questions, and then they will know who I am, and then they will send me the form again, because that's all I need. I have everything else but the form so I can complete my taxes. And lo and behold, it says you are in priority sequence or whatever. Wait time is between 3.5 to 4 hours. I thought it was gonna say 3.5 to 4 minutes, and then they said 3.5 to 4 hours. If the call has not been answered within that time, the call may be hang up, like let go or something. Basically, they said if somebody doesn't answer the call within 3.5 to 4 hours, the call would like drop. I'm just like, what? You want me to stay on the phone for 3.5 to 4 hours? Like, this is tax season. Shouldn't the government like have more people like there? Just making sure. I'm just like, well, I guess I'm not doing my taxes this year, or I'm doing my taxes late this year, because I definitely don't have a phone that's gonna last. I'm basically on the like a very limited phone plan, which does not give me 3.5 to 4 hours of call time a month, because I use WhatsApp to do calling. Like, who makes phone calls like that last that long? So I guess I'm not doing the taxes this year, or I'll do it late. I was just like, this is so silly. Like, you guys changed the system during the worst year. Like, there's a pandemic. Why are you changing the system now? Obviously, more people are gonna be using the site than ever, so that means there will be more. Change the site after tax season. Don't change it during tax season when there is like a whole bunch of people who's going to be needing your help. So obviously then the phone lines are gonna be off the chain. Like, so ridiculous. All right, what do I think? I don't know how I feel about this. Okay, I think that's enough for the lines. The lines are kind of they're cool, but I want something new now. Let's do something new. So I'm just talking about random stuff while I'm making this. I think I will decide to do something else. Let's look and see, what do I like. Okay, let's do the scallops. Scallops never hurt anyone. Okay. I actually don't like this that much. Like, they seem to be a staple when people are doing doodle patterns, but I absolutely don't like them. They just look they look like fish scales. I don't know, I'm not a big fan of these. They're just, okay, I think I will stop. I won't do these ones again, because I don't know, I just don't like them. So the goal is to have a cool looking pattern. Like, this one it was random, but it actually looked really cool. This one, I'm a little bit disappointed in it. It's not coming out the way that I wanted, but I don't seem to have much of a plan. All right. Maybe if nope, I don't. I think this one's just gonna be done. I hate this pattern so much. I don't know, everybody seems to just love these scallops. I don't get it. They just look so unappetizing, so unappealing rather. Alright, I think I'm done with this. Okay, let's see. Let's go crosses. I like that. Okay. So now I'm going to decide on some crossed lines. Oop, be a little patient. Some cross lines might do a nice appearance. I just need to be a little patient. Make sure the starting line is on the black and ends on the black. And one more. All right, well, let's go this way. One. That's not very straight. All right. This week I spent some time watching the Avengers movie again. Ooh, this is not very good. That will be okay. And I've seen it a bunch of times. I have watched it many times. I don't know, something I never really grew up reading comic books, mainly because I grew up in the Caribbean and we didn't really have access to comic books, or at least I didn't. My introduction to the comic book world, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe, was with Iron Man and Hulk and all of that. So I started watching the show with the movies. I didn't really know much about them until I started watching the movies. But there's this thing with people, right? The more involved you are with a thing, the more meaning it has. So that's why old TV shows have so much nostalgia. It's not about the TV shows being good necessarily. It's about the fact that they hold so much meaning to you because they've been with you for so long. So I've been watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe since I believe, maybe just out of my teens. Maybe just at the end of my teens or into my early 20s. So I've been watching it for that long. So that means that I've watched these people since the time I was basically a kid. It feels like I was still a kid at that age, and it meant it's for me. It didn't mean as much, although I would like to argue that it does, but just for the sake of not getting into internet arguments with the hardcore fans, I'll just say that it didn't mean as much to me as. But for me, it meant a lot to me because I really obviously I don't have superpowers. I'll never have superpowers as far as I know. But like, I identify with their emotions and their reasonings and the motivations that the characters have, and I understand the struggles that they went through for why they did the things that they did, and basically the reasons why movie makers make movies, why they want you to feel with the characters, right? Oh, that one was not very good. So what I'm trying to say is that I've been watching these movies since they started coming out. I think the first time I learned about these movies was because, unbelievably, or believe it or not, my cousin's husband, who is one of those big fanboys, he was the one who kind of sort of put me on the radar of Iron Man. I remember he came to Canada, and I can't believe I remember this. I was so young and I didn't really even care about comic book, but he was so passionate about how Tony Stark was like Tony Stark, and see, I'm doing what is. The funny thing is that when he was talking about it, he kept mixing up Tony Stark with Robert Downey Jr. because he was saying how the character, like Robert Downey Jr. played Tony Stark so well, like so in character, that he kept confusing the two. And at the time, I was just like, why is he geeking out so much about it? Like he was talking about how he was going to like San Diego Comic-Con. I was like, what the heck is that? I don't know what that is. But I was really into his passion. He was so excited about the Iron Man movie that was coming out, and I was like, okay. I didn't really get it, but I really liked how I like when people are passionate about things. So he was so passionate about it. So I'm like, okay, if it means so much to him, because anytime anybody tells me something that is very that connects with their soul to me, like if somebody loves a book and they share that love of that book to me, obviously I want to read that book too. I want to see what about this book meant so much to this person that they want to share it with you. Like anytime a person has a passion like that, and they're so into it that they want to tell other people. I want to know what about it is so interesting. So that was why he was so passionate about it that he kept mistaking the two names, like kept saying, like he kept calling Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark. So then I was like, okay, he's that into it. I want to see what this is about. And so that was the only reason I even watched the first Iron Man, and from then I was hooked. And now I'm doing the same thing. So it's been years later. Obviously, I was not like him. He literally, in his house, he had stacks and stacks of the original comic books. Like he was, he was the real deal. One of those people who just was in love with the thing. Like he grew up on it. It mattered a lot to him. He was a genuine fanboy. I'm saying was like he died. He's still alive. So sorry, I don't mean he's dead. It's just that was what introduced me to the whole thing. So my point is that this week I started watching. I was just watching the Endgame again, and I just remembered how I started watching it, and I was watching the movie, and I'm just like, I was crying through it. It wasn't like tears of sorrow. It was just tears of emotion, just because it's just so such. It brings so much. I can't even explain it. Like there's so much going on, and and then of course there was also Chadwick Boseman when he comes out of the portal, and he has that little enigmatic smile on his face when Captain America is standing on that little hill ready to fight all those monsters on his own. I'm just like, you've seen this movie like a million times, like especially when the Avengers Endgame first came out. I saw it in theaters a few times, and I bought the movie as soon as it came out. I have watched it so many times, but I hadn't watched it in a while. So I don't know, some reason I just really wanted to watch it this weekend. So I did, and I was just like sitting there watching this, and I'm just like crying. I'm like, stop that. Why are you getting so emotional over this? You've seen it so many times. But it's just that I have watched these movies for so long. I feel like I know these characters. And again, I don't know them as well as the comic book fans. I'm not saying that my knowledge of what happens is as deep as what the comic book fans know. My knowledge is only as deep as what the movies have shown me. But they've shown a lot, and there's so much lore that even I've honestly, I will be honest, I've even gone to reading like story, like not what do you call them, like behind the scenes, no, like information on like all the robots Tony has built, the names of all the I've gone in and looking into lore on the characters that are in the movie, and like little things that made no sense to me. Like I've gone to read all of this, so it mattered so much to me that I was just there just watching this movie, just feeling like, ah, oh, yes, go Team Earth. Although then I started having all these questions, like you do. Like, for example, my brain is weird. I was just like, okay, so after Tony is, I can't, the part where Tony snaps his finger, which is is obviously the whole point of the movie, and he says, I am Iron Man, and all of that. That's the most important part of the movie. I get it, but I cannot watch that scene for the life of me. I cannot watch it. I can't watch it. I don't agree. I get that it's supposed to be whatever. I cannot watch it. It's just not for me. I cannot watch that scene. I just refuse to watch it. I saw it one time. Once was enough. I will never watch it again. I cannot watch it. As soon as the fighting starts and I get to that point, I just turn it off, because then in my world, Tony doesn't die. I just don't agree that he has to die. I get the whole cinematic storytelling and blah 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 blah. I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree. I don't agree. I do not agree. But that's just my selfish. I don't want my favorite characters to die, so it has nothing to do with anything other than me being completely and utterly selfish. So that was the whole point of the whole movie, is that I just wanted to watch it, and I have lost my train of thought. I don't even know what I was talking about. It was just me watching this movie, crying like a baby, and yeah. I think I wanted to make this into 2 videos. I think I have gone on long enough. I was actually just enjoying just talking about nothing. But since I have already lost where I was going with the whole point of the video, and I think the video is pretty long anyway, I think I will stop now. They look completely different, right? 2 different aesthetics. I don't know which one I like more. No, I think I prefer this one more. Well, that's about it for today. Thank you for listening to me ramble about absolutely nothing, just whatever came to mind. I will complete the rest of this next video, and that will be the last in the series of me talking while working. And that's about it. If you like what you saw, please hit the like button. Take some time to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.